if you look closely enough, there's actually some good news. No, I'm not drunk. The sewer pipe that is Hollywood and the wider regime entertainment industry in general is dying on its arse, despite the market being completely saturated with CRT propaganda, LGBT social engineering and forced diversity casting. What's the biggest movie of the year? Top Gun Maverick. The first blockbuster in what felt like forever that didn't pander to any of that shite.
Jeez! Having any fun yet?
It just cracked $1 billion box office worldwide. A movie, and get this for a novel concept, a movie that didn't seek to shove a political ideology down your throat and actually sought, above all else, to entertain the audience. Shocking, I know. A movie that dared reference its misogynistic first incarnation as a nostalgic love letter to the original fans. A movie that refused to be cowed by the modern-day purity pitchfork mob.
Top Gun Maverick does not denounce toxic masculinity, it embraces it!
Yeah, and that's why everyone loved it, bitch.
Top Gun Maverick should have done something to fit our times!
Oh no, a popular movie that doesn't genuflect to our cultural colonization agenda. The absolute horror. Disney's new Buzz Lightyear movie, on the other hand, well, flop doesn't even begin to cover it. Fearing it was going to be another browbeater lecturing the audience about the message, the audience stayed away in their droves. In its second weekend, it couldn't even beat indie movie The Black Phone. And despite Lightyear being released weeks after Top Gun, the Tom Cruise hit still nearly doubled Lightyear in sales the weekend just gone. Total ticket sales for Top Gun, over $1 billion. Total ticket sales for Lightyear, 152 million. It hasn't even covered its budget yet. Pathetic. Lightyear scraped a woeful 5.3 on IMDb compared to Top Gun Maverick's 8.6. Beyond the cliche, this is actually a solid real-world example of get woke, go broke. And it seems Disney was being punished not just for the content of the movie, but also for their far-left political activism over the Florida Don't Say Gay issue. Yeah, it turns out that siding against parents in their bid to protect kids from predatory gender identity and sexual indoctrination isn't very popular with parents who might otherwise take their kids to see your movie. Wow, who knew? Picking Teen Groomer wasn't quite the win you expected it to be. Who knew that offering to pay for travel expenses that fund abortions of kids would piss off parents who have kids? Disney's stock price has plummeted from $200 down to $90. They're now totally dependent on income from their theme parks, which are already being depleted of visitors thanks to the pandemic. And it's just a hunch, but Disney's upcoming offering Baymax, in which some amorphous gender non-binary blob takes female sanitary product advice from a biological male wearing a transgender flag, probably isn't going to do them any favors either.
Excuse me, which of these products would you recommend?
Oh, well, these are the tampons I usually use.
Thank you.
I prefer pads. They're more comfortable for me.
Thank you.
I always get the ones with wings.
Thank you.
If you want a vision of the future, imagine a trans Michelin man re-educating your toddler on how dudes can have periods forever. Netflix is also hemorrhaging viewers at an unprecedented rate. The network that proudly proclaimed this back in one of its 2019 flagship shows,
straight white men are cancelled.
Turns out the only thing being cancelled now is Netflix accounts. 200,000 subscribers lost in the first quarter of the year, with an expectation that a further 2 million will be jettisoned by next month. How's that diversity casting working out for you? Their stock price plunged from almost $700 a share to $190 a share in less than 6 months. Quite the fall from grace since 2020's Cuties Nonsflix debacle, one of the primary factors for the alarming decline. Well, as Elon Musk put it, Netflix's embrace of the woke mind virus, which is making it unwatchable, prompting the company to circulate an internal memo vowing to produce more content for people with differing political views, and a message for anyone who didn't like it that they should quit, with hundreds being fired in the last few weeks alone. Netflix fired an entire team of writers for the Tudum website, almost all of whom were women of colour. Most watched Netflix show ever, Squid Game. No woke brainwashing in that. The last series of Dear White People, meanwhile.
If I said I only dated white guys, that'd be racist, right?
Well, that was pulling in IMDb scores in the low 4s. Yeah, you'd think they'd have learned their lesson by now. Meanwhile, fresh off their Top Gun success, Paramount's new streaming service, Paramount Plus, says they won't cave to the mob. The CEO of the company has rejected trigger warnings and efforts to sanitize older films to satiate demented left-wing censors. Quote, "I don't believe in censoring art," said Bob Backish, adding, "If you don't like it, don't watch it." The worm appears to have turned. They really do seem to have overplayed their hand. Tinseltown has gone tits up by trying to make everything political, denying people the ability to at least escape cringe world for a brief period of time by starving people of uplifting archetypal allegories based on universal human ideals, by caging everything within the partisan hectoring sanctimonious prison of political correctness. But it seems that in greater numbers than ever, the public, having previously put up with it for the sake of being able to see the latest movie, has had enough. Whisper it quietly, but the edifice of woke brainwashing, at least in the entertainment industry, could be starting to crumble. We're also seeing massive pushback in sports, with transgender bans in both swimming and rugby. And if that goes, maybe the next domino to fall will be the education system. The long march through the institutions may have met a roadblock in the form of a watershed, market-driven revolt.
Someone's not coming back from this.
It's absolutely crucial for you to help me fight the war on free speech by supporting me via Subscribe Star, link in description, and also signing up for my free newsletter at summit.news/newsletter.